This we have with us former Secretary of State and Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, thank you for taking time. You heard Secretary Blinken calling it a good deal, but yet when the discussion came about what these funds could be used for, Iran's president Ibrahim Raisi had this to say. Listen here.
This money belongs to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and naturally, we will decide, the Islamic Republic of Iran will decide to spend it wherever we need it.
So he says they're going to do whatever they want with it. And just moments before we came on the air, Mr. Secretary, Reuters reporting that Iran is defending its move to bar some UN nuclear inspectors and accuse the U.S. of politicizing the IAEA watchdog. So was this a good deal, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Griff, it's great to be with you. No, this was a bad deal for America. It's a bad deal for America regardless of what they use the money for. We know the history. We know where this money will go. It will end up benefiting the world's largest state sponsor of terror. Look, I don't believe Ibrahim Raisi, what he says, but we know the history. We know this money will go to nefarious activity. Even more important than that, we now know the price tag for the next American they capture. It's about $1 billion that President Biden is prepared to pay when they take another American, and this will incentivize the continued hostage taking. And it won't just be the Iranians. It'll be the North Koreans. It'll be all the other bad actors in the world who now know the American bazaar is open. And as much as I love the fact we're getting these people home, they're going to get back to their families, the fact that the next American taken hostage will be a direct result of the ransom that has now been paid makes this a really bad deal, regardless of how this money ends up being used inside of Iran.
You see it as a ransom payment?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You get $6 billion. You get to spend it on the things you care about, right? If someone gives you $300, Griff, and they say, hey, you have to use this on groceries, great. I don't have to pay for groceries. I can now go buy a car with the $300 I would have used for groceries. Yeah, this is a bad deal. We gave them $6 billion in exchange. We're going to get these Americans home. In the Trump administration, we got lots of folks back. And we did it without offering up a single nickel. Think of the three that came back from North Korea in particular. We didn't pay a nickel. We got them home. That's the American way. We got Pastor Brunson home without spending money. It's possible to do. It's dangerous for the next American who will be taken hostage to see what's going to transpire here.
You mentioned North Korea. Let's talk about, we saw this meeting this week between the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin, where Un in that meeting apparently pledged support behind Russia's invasion of Ukraine. How concerned does that make you about this alliance, and what can we take from that?
Griff, isn't that something, right? When America fails to lead, you see the bad guys just running around, moving about the cabin freely, unworried about American power. You now have the most sanctioned nation in the world, the North Koreans, paying footsie with the Russians, probably going to provide them with artillery and weapon systems in exchange for money. And we shouldn't forget, too, the North Koreans are basically a wholly owned subsidiary of the Chinese Communist Party. It's essentially a laundering operation. So China can support Russia's killing of Ukrainian citizens. It's bad for America. When we're off the stage as the leader, as the globe's enforcer of things that matter to the American people, this is precisely what you see happen. And this example between North Korea and Russia is just one more in a litany of American efforts that have failed as a result of President Biden's leadership being sorely lacking.
And Mr. Secretary, just in the last 30 seconds we've got, what do you make of President Zelensky will be coming to the UN meeting in New York, and then it appears to the White House? Apparently, the long-range missiles, the ATACMS, possibly on the offering.
Well, I would have argued for more support for Ukraine a lot more quickly. We might have deterred this whole misadventure since February of 2022, Griff. And so I'm glad he's coming here. But most importantly, I hope President Biden will explain to the American people why this matters. I think it does, but he owes an explanation to the American people about why it is we're taking American resources and supporting something that is in America's interest.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Fox News contributor, thank you for taking time, sir. Have a great weekend.
Bless you, Griff. Have a good weekend, too.